Guys, it's the most wonderful time of the year. We're going to be going through 36 different albums in this episode, and we're going to be ranking them based on our tier list. And I said it's the most wonderful time because we have a bunch of end-of-the-year content coming your way. Our top 10 albums of the year, songs of the year, our award show, and much more. So make sure to tap the notification bell so you guys don't miss a single video. And if you enjoy the content, smash the like button. We're trying to reach over 8,000.
I was thinking more like a 10K
10K?
It's end of the year content,
yeah, you're right.
baby.
Let's do 10K.
It's end of the year content, baby. Honestly,
yes, sir.
Looking at this tier list, there's a lot of fun albums to talk about.
There is.
It was a lot of fun.
Starting off with the first one, it's a fun one for some people. Some Sexy Songs for You by Drake and PartyNextDoor. The cope that I've seen with this album has reached new levels of delusion, bro. It's to a point where if you don't fuck with the music, you've never seen a pair of tits in your life. That's what it's come down to. I swear to you, bro. These are real things that people say. I promise you. No, but I promise. All fuckery aside, though.
Okay, because this is the thing that you and I had different ratings for this album when the reviews came out, right?
We did.
I remember you giving it a mid rating. I'm at a good rating. I'm still at the good rating. You're probably still at the mid rating.
I'm still at the mid rating.
What do you want to do with this?
I just feel like, bro, lack of chemistry between Drake and PND. A handful of good songs where most of them are solo, like Small Town Fame, Deeper. You look at the strongest cuts, and it's not even them together. No Kia, obviously, as well. I really don't see myself budging on this, bro. I gotta be honest. I feel like even Drake's performance throughout the album, it lacks so much personality and so much soul. Like, you hear it through, like, the vocals,
Yeah, but you see,
bro.
I disagree with you on the chemistry part.
He's drowning in auto-tune. Well, and it doesn't sound clean.
Well, first of all, looking at, like, two solo tracks that you just mentioned, right? Like a Small Town Fame, and then after that a Deeper, you do get those great cuts from both of them. I feel like those are kind of like vintage throwbacks for them. Has that like really nice Toronto sound in them. Great hits off of the album as well. I felt like Nokia was a breath of fresh air for Drake's catalog. I also really like Die Trying. Like, I know a lot of people maybe feel a different way about it, but I was always a fan of that song as well. And I think there are strong cuts besides that, right? Like a CN Tower of Mothballs. I don't think it's the greatest record they put together.
Some of the worst of his catalog. Spider-Man, Superman, Glorious, Meet Your Padre. Like, that has to weigh down the album.
Absolutely.
Bro.
And that's why I'm not going with a great or an amazing rating like most of the community would. But I think there was decent performances all the way through, and there were certain songs that did make my rotation. So it's up to you, bro. Where do you want to go? You really want to go with the mid on this?
I really think this deserves the mid.
You know what?
I do feel
usually when we're at a
standstill,
standstill, like, we'll kind of argue it out, but I feel like we're on a similar playing field here. I want to bring in Lord Nick, maybe.
Okay.
Can we bring in Lord Nick for this
one?
one?
What Nick has to say.
Nick, good or mid on this one?
He says mid.
He gives it the mid pack. All right, that's going to get the mid rating. Let's go on to this next one.
All right.
Let God Sort Him Out by Clipse. Critically acclaimed album. I mean, they fucking performed it at the Vatican, so, I mean, there has to be something there. Got nominated for a bunch of Grammys. Some of the best records of the entire year off of this album. Fantano gave it a perfect score, so I guess if he was with us today, he would be really advocating for the perfect category. I had it amazing, though.
I think this is an amazing album, bro. I mean, just looking at the chemistry between them, it's like they never left. It's like 15 years hadn't passed between till the casket drops and like God Sort Him Out. And just looking at all the clever coke puns and metaphors and the coded language and Pharrell steering the ship, bro. He did an amazing job with the production as well.
You're getting MVP performances from Malice throughout the album as well.
Yeah, Malice an MVP for hip hop in 2025.
Honestly, even some of the most successful rap songs of the year came off of this album with Chainz and Whips and So Be It. And I feel like they created cultural moments.
I think also just like the evolution and the introspectiveness, like 10, 15 years ago, you weren't finding songs like The Birds Don't Sing or even By the Grace of God in the Clipse catalog. Like, you're really getting them opening up from a songwriting standpoint as well in a way that they never have before. It's a beautiful evolution. It's a mature album.
Hey, save the conversation for the end of the year list.
Yes, we will. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah,
amazing.
You are.
Amazing
Lou's very
album.
passionate about this album.
Amazing album for Let God Sort Him Out. Next up, music by Playboi Carti. I wish Swamp Izzo chilled out for this one, bro. I think he went too hard in the paint.
He's fire though.
I think
he's
brought
passionate.
it down.
He's a passionate dude.
I get Cardi wanted like the 2000s Atlanta mixtape vibes for this album, but it killed the vibe of certain songs for me.
Okay, let me ask you something. Looking at this album, I feel like there's a good amount of quality records off of here. Like example, Hood by Air. I like Opium Baby, something like a Radar, for example. You got Cocaine on here. Like there's so many different songs that you could revisit.
It's a playlist
but
album,
exactly, it has more of that playlist sort of vibe to it, like a lot of modern trap albums do have.
Yeah,
it was one of the most exciting albums of 2025. It was a blockbuster. A lot of people are saying that this is their album of the year. I don't think it's gonna crack our top 10 list, to be honest with you. I still have it as a good rating. I think it was a good listen.
I still have it as a mid rating, bro. I feel like a lot of songs felt like demos with verses that feel like they weren't finished being written, half completed hooks on this album, beats not fully fleshed out. And this was a 5-year wait for music, and it felt like Cardi had made a lot of these songs within 24 hours. And also, the bloat on this album, 30 fucking songs where this should have been called too much music.
Yeah, and you could also say
that's what it should have been called, too much music.
Even some of the collaborations on this album kind of fall flat, right? Like Twin Trim with Uzi, for example. That's not my favorite.
Kendrick 3 times on this album kind of felt a bit forced. Didn't really fit on all of those tracks.
I like the Travis collaborations, though.
Yes.
Even going back
even The Weeknd on
Philly
Rather Lie
Crush
did great.
I still have it as a good rating. I think it was a good listen.
Okay, fine. You budge for... You know what? No, we're bringing Nick in again.
Lord
Fuck
Nick,
it.
yeah.
Nick is going to come in again.
Good rating for Nick.
Gives a good rating.
All right, let's go on to Jackboys 2. This is an album that you and I absolutely shat on when it first released. One of the most disappointing albums of 2025. And it was the first time that I saw Travis Scott curate an album that sounded buns. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, this is like a glorified DJ Khaled album where he's like, let me bring up the troops together. Let's make some music. Let's throw this shit at the wall, and none of it's going to stick. And that's what ended up happening. It's crazy because I remember going into the album, pressing play on Champagne and Vacay, which is the intro, and thinking, oh shit, they might have done it again, and then they didn't do it again. It's buns from start to finish. It's one of those albums where you're like, with all the hype and promotion they did for this, you think they would have actually put decent effort behind it, and they didn't. They should have never came out. This is one of those albums that you could delete.
It was a forced album. I feel like it was forced for this year. Going back to the original Jackboys, it was concise, and it wasn't like the greatest work that Travis Scott has ever produced either. Like, I don't want to hold the Jackboys series up to that standard. You've mentioned that in a couple of different podcasts.
But there's quality songs.
There's quality songs.
Consistently.
Name me a song off of this album that sounds like a Gaddy, for example. And people are like, oh, well, you guys are just nostalgia farmers. No, like, you guys are going to obviously hold your artists to their standard,
or the quality of a What to Do or Now West. There's
Absolutely.
no songs
There's
matching up to that. And I think what sucks, too, is that it's like this is supposed to be a Jackboys collective album, but Travis instead made himself the center of attention, and most songs are either solo Travis songs or he's like taking up the most runtime, and I'm like, bro, this is supposed to be a collective album. Where's the collective?
Even at
here?
that, the features were really miscalculated. Something that I liked about the OG Jackboys was you didn't have like a track list like spammed with features. It felt like, okay, let's get Glorilla here, let's get Vibes Cartel,
21
let's
Savage
get
ad-libs.
yeah,
like,
you know, whatever. I still have it as a bad rating.
Bad album.
Sure.
Bad. Next up, though, Don't Tap the Glass by Tyler, the Creator. Tyler making another genre-bending album in 2025. Genre-blending, I should say. Kind of bringing in a bunch of different elements to the table. I would say probably his worst album since Cherry Bomb for me. Probably his worst album in 10 years. Even though the production is incredible all throughout it. I love the 2000s club and dance grooves you'll find on songs like Sugar on My Tongue and many more. Tyler kind of, in my opinion, dropping the ball a little bit with the rapping side of things. I feel like he had
but that wasn't the intention.
It wasn't the intention, but
and
like,
he spoke about it.
There are certain songs like a Mom and Them, for example, where it's like, you know, the nursery rhyme style and some of the West Coast flows he was writing. I just don't feel like they suit him the best, and that kind of weighed it down for me a bit. But ultimately, we both gave it a great rating. Are you sticking with that?
I'm gonna stick with it. Yeah, and even Tyler, when he had released the album, he said that he didn't want to go too conceptual with this album. He felt like he accomplished
it's about having fun.
He accomplished that with Chromacopia literally like months before this album dropped in the summer, right? So I'm not mad at it. I think it was a looser approach. Still, though, like you said, the production is really fantastic, bro. It's really a well-produced album.
One of the best produced albums of the year,
for sure. I'm going to give it a great rating.
Great
still, right?
rating. Next up, Whammy. Wham by Lil Baby. Whammer. Listen, I was down for the Lil Baby comeback after getting just a stretch of boring and stagnant music from him. I wanted it to happen, but it just wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't in the cards.
Sometimes
right?
it's not meant to be.
And it wasn't in the cards.
It wasn't, unfortunately.
And I kind of like, I was having contemplations, right, with this album where I remember when it got announced, I told myself, is this going to be a similar case to his previous album, It's Only Me, right, where you're going to get an overbloated track list. It's going to feel lackluster. There won't be too many performances that I gravitate towards. And well, yes, that is the case with this album. I think it's somewhat of a step up over It's Only Me. If that means anything, I gave that a bad rating, but this one's still going to get the mid rating for me.
This one's going to get the mid rating, and I just feel like he tried on a couple songs to bring back that hunger and passion, but it wasn't consistent throughout the album.
And I think it just came down to a point right between these albums where you had gotten so many feature verses, like you know what to expect with a Lil Baby album.
It was the Baby exhaustion.
Exactly. And I think that a lot of artists go through that, and I think this is an album that suffered from like, well, I've heard these verses on different singles, different features already. I heard these same verses on It's Only Me. I've heard these verses somewhat on My Turn, right?
And even when he leaves that comfort zone, you're getting performances like Redbone, for example, or Promise, where the melodic rapping is just not hitting. So it's like, if he stays in his lane, he's damned because people are exhausted of that sound. But if he ventures out, he can't really deliver and have the execution down pat.
I feel like he kind of pigeonholed himself into like a certain sound, and it kind of got exhausting for at least the past like 8 years that he's been doing it.
All right, mid rating. Next up, Balloonerism by Mac Miller.
I want to say this. Yeah, I want to say this, Lou. Okay, this is an absolute lock for my top 10 list. This is going to be the locks.
This was a home run from the beginning.
Yeah,
man.
It's going to be the locks.
Whenever the Mac Miller estate comes out and says we're dropping a new Mac Miller album, it's almost an automatic that they're going to treat it with the utmost care and quality. And that's exactly what the case was for this. I mean, this album was made 10 years ago. Mac Miller had finished it in 2015. Maybe they added a couple of, mixing touches or whatever the case may be.
They kind of like reworked the track list a tad though, but all of the music is original.
Yeah.
Fun fact about this album, I mentioned this in the review that we did for Balloonerism.
Yeah, the background of the label.
Yeah, the background of the label. This was actually going to be the album that was supposed to release instead of Good AM. So basically, he went to Warner with this album. They felt like it was a bit too left field for like maybe a major label debut, so he ended up cooking Good AM in the process, and then this album gets shelved. But I think what's interesting about this is they know the fans wanted this album for so long. It was getting leaked everywhere, especially like this decade. I feel like when we were first in hip-hop Twitter, this was a grail for a lot of people to see it at least make DSPs, and they finally did it in 2025. And the rollout was amazing. The short films around it, all the visuals. I'm going to give this an amazing rating still.
And even just like the vibe of the album, bro. I feel like so many songs on this just absorb you into the atmosphere. And they're very patient soundscapes, and they sort of make you experience life through Mac Miller's POV, where he's sort of like in this isolated daze where he's trying to like make out the meaning of life and how he wants to like go higher metaphorically and literally. It's just... Anyways, we'll get more into it because it is going to be in our top 10 albums.
For sure, absolutely.
Amazing album, Balloonerism by Mac Miller. But on a more negative note,
UI Scooty.
The one and only.
I still can't believe this album came out this year, and it's interesting because it was so bad that you started having conversations about Thug kind of ruining his discography and career with this album release, right? There was a lot
of... it was never about... You always misunderstood. It was never about ruining his legacy. It was about ruining the future of his career, where it's like the future for Young Thug music is looking very fucking bleak, bro, after this album.
After this album, I agree on that standpoint. Going into this, though, I knew what type of album this was going to be after Ninja. Right, and you kind of like this song in the first half.
Yeah, it sounded like it could have been a hit at the beginning.
Absolutely, and then I think it just completely ruined it once you got to the second half. And if you guys want to go listen to it, it's available on DSPs. Regardless, though, this is a missed mark for Young Thug. I feel like the curation on this album was really low tier, bro. Like you're going into like a lot of bait shit, bro, and it just sounds like generic trap music all the way throughout. The fact that the single with Future, which was an underwhelming single, is arguably the best song on this album speaks volume to how bad this track list is.
Yeah, bro. And I just feel like he dropped the ball. Like, these 20 songs prove to me that he lost the sauce, bro. From the disjointed flows to the hooks that are not catchy, the terrible auto-crooning, him rapping off beat. Like, when the state prosecutor in your RICO case calling you King Slime on the intro is the best part of your album... There's a problem, bro.
Yeah,
there's a
there's a
problem
huge
when that's the
problem.
most entertaining part of the whole. That's the toughest part of the album.
And the
or
fact-
how the album cover generates more conversation than the music itself. We got to start having asking questions here, Thugger.
Or even at that, like looking at some of the features on here, the fact that Mariah the Scientist is arguably the brightest point of like this entire album and track list on songs like Dreams Rarely Do Come True. I love that feature, and even something, for example, like Invest Into You. Those should have been just solo Mariah the Scientist songs. That should have been maybe on her album instead. So
if anyone's
it's just weird,
if anyone's in college writing a paper and they want to make it music driven, you could write a whole fucking paper about how Young Thug literally chose commerce over art for UI Scooty. Like, you could do a whole fucking essay on
And I don't
that,
think it
bro.
helped that literally before this album dropped, there was leaks of phone calls, him saying that, oh, we got to stream this, we got to do it. Like, now this is no longer a Jeffrey territory or a So Much Fun where you're trying to innovate, you're trying to push the boundaries of your
jig
catalog.
is up, bro.
It's up, bro.
The jig is up.
And I think he knows it as well. I'm going to
Yeah.
give that a bad rating. Let's go on to another blockbuster album for this year, Can't Rush Greatness by Central C. People were down to see, no pun intended, what he was going to be able to do in 2025, right? Like, all of the hype behind him.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like Can't Rush Greatness, like, going through those performances and the live album reaction, they were flat, bro. There was a lot of flat music within that album.
And feel the guys inside the cage. I need a bitch that's bougie and don't give brothers time of day. Sweden, Norwegian, New Zealand, Armenian, Indonesian. Like, bro, I can only hear the same flow so many times, you know? There's
Yeah.
only so many times I could stand to hear the same flow. He's not a bad rapper. I think he's talented. The album is just boring because if it's not him recycling one of his drill flows over a standard UK beat, then it's him giving you a boring ass melodic love song where he sounds like he doesn't even want to be there performing it, bro. Like, that's what I'm getting. He sounds unenthused on songs like Now We're Strangers. Like, listen to that and tell me you don't fall asleep listening to it.
Yeah, this is a mid-album.
It's a
bro.
mid-album,
Mid-pack.
by all means.
But
Next
speaking
up,
about an album that made the mark, bro, Alfredo 2 by Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist. Skinny Shook 2.
why isn't it
Mar-a-Lago.
perfect? Why isn't it perfect?
I don't know.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
Gas
Because
station sushi,
We gave it an amazing
Jean-Claude.
rating. No, I'm asking you. Why doesn't this get the perfect rating for you?
Do you think it's going to be a situation? I'm kind of going to like rebound the question back to you with Alfredo, for example, where forever we thought that it was an amazing album. Then once we started doing content on it, we kind of asked ourselves, where's the flaws? And then you kind of have to ask yourself, well, should I be giving this a perfect rating? And then we both agreed that the first installment of the Alfredo series is perfect.
Yeah. So,
Should we have given another perfect rating this
I'm
year?
asking you. Do you want to put this into perfect right now? I'm asking. I'll give my take. I want to know yours first, though. I asked
Okay.
you.
I guess if I had to nitpick some things, I love the song Jean-Claude, but I'm not that big of a fan of the hook on it. I think it's a bit flat, if I'm going to be honest with you. That's one of my things. The Larry June feature.
That's my biggest.
The Larry June
the Larry
feature,
June
like,
feature shouldn't have.
That should have been a really like a solo Freddie performance. He's hitting these fucking flows and he's getting melodic with it. He's saucy with it. It sounds like he's hammered at the bar in front of the piano and he's ripping it. And then you get Larry June that comes in and it's like, well, fuck, Larry June, I have a whole catalog of the same flow that you've been recycling on every single one of your songs.
Yeah.
Let's get it again on this one.
It's so disengaging. And yeah, a couple of Freddie moments where the singing obviously isn't the best. It's not meant to sound like Adele level singing, but just to say, those are a couple of nitpicks.
But top tier
Couple of
collaborations
nitpicks, but
within their catalog, right between him and
absolutely,
Uncle
man.
Al. Looking at like example, even in 1995, I love the way that starts off the album. And if you guys watched our Wrapped video, this was my second most played album of
This
the year.
was my number 5, I think. Yeah, it was high up there too. Just amazing album.
rating though.
Lush boom bap beats, the Japanese samples and culture sprinkled into the mix. Freddie rapping with monstrous flows. What more could you want? Amazing album.
rating.
Next up, The Carter 6 by Lil Wayne. This doesn't even deserve to be called a Carter album, bro. Because, I mean, listen, fundamentally, it's really lacking a lot of the elements of what made the other Carter albums, bro. The bars, the introspection, the anthems, the great features. This
beat
had
selection.
none of that.
Yes.
None of it. Zilch.
Yes.
Fuck all.
I agree with you. I felt like this was a cash grab, kind of like UI Scooty, in the sense that like they felt like they maybe needed to run back the Carter series, right? It was being teased for a minute. And I feel like this was an anticipated album. But then once the clips started surfacing online of an Ave Maria or of a Peanuts to an Elephant, it's
Cooked.
gimmick, bro. It's
cooked.
gimmick shit. It's literally baby shit. Like, you can't even tell me that this deserves to be a Carter album, let alone a Wayne album, bro.
No.
This is not a Wayne album. This is arguably the worst album he's ever released in his maybe, 30 years of rapping at this point?
But that's just what's mind-blowing to me is that it's like this is one of our GOATs who puts out a 19-song album, maybe has 3 or 4 listenable songs, if you want to be generous with it.
Okay, you want to
he made us wait 7 years for this album, bro. 7 years to give me fucking Ave Maria trap version, to give me a song featuring Jelly Roll, to make Alone in the Studio with My Gun with MGK and Kodak Black.
Yeah, the only bright spots on this album you could argue are Welcome to the Carta, and then after that, Bells.
Bells, Band from NO is okay. Like, I'm talking about listenable songs, there's a handful at most.
I like the Manny Fresh beat on Being Myself, but regardless, though, this is a bad album.
It's a really bad album. There's no redeemable qualities.
Let's go on to this next one. Showbiz by Mike. This released earlier in the year, and a lot of people did have this in their top 10 albums of the year so far lists, right? Like when everyone does their mid-mark lists. I found it interesting because this album is 23 songs long, but it clocks in at under
I think it's like 48 minutes or something like that.
It's a shorter track list, and I think Mike has successfully sort of replicated this formula of having these really short form like songs, but yet they feel concise in an album experience. And going back to this album, I found it interesting when it came to the sample choices. I liked Mike's demeanor throughout almost every single song within this, even though it kind of gets a bit repetitive towards the end of the track list. It's classic Mike. If you like his sound, you're going to like this album. He stayed within his wheelhouse, and he gave you 23 songs of that exact same sound. So let me ask you this. What separates a Showbiz, for example, from a Wham? Because they both those artists kind of stayed within their wheelhouse to a certain extent, but I feel like one was executed better upon.
For sure. And I think it just comes down to the creativity within forming that soundscape, which Mike fucking killed it, bro. I mean, very eclectic soundscape, bringing in samples from disco era and the funk era and soul music, and sort of like pitch shifting these samples for them to sound like these gospel choirs, and just a lot of texture, bro. I feel like that's a good word for this album. A lot of these beats have texture that you could really pinpoint and feel, and it also felt like a therapy album for Mike, which a lot of his projects do. Sure, he's monotone and relaxed with his flows and cadences at times, but I really feel like he pushed his pen with this album, and salute to him for also producing most of it.
Yeah, and like if you're into like, the weed smoking sort of sound and like that Tony Seltzer sort of production, this album's gonna be for you, right?
Yeah, it is more like pinball. It's more upbeat in certain sections of the album.
And that's what I like about this album. I gave it a great rating, bro.
I had great or amazing. I could have even gone into the amazing. I think it's if not top 10 this year, top 15. Like it's really being considered for me.
I don't think it's on the level of Alfredo 2 and Let God Sort Him Out.
No, but those are going to be very high-ranking albums.
Yes, but I think that it's maybe a notch below that. That's why I went with the great rating. I think it's a great album.
Okay, let's go with the great rating.
Great album is a very generous rating, to be honest with you. Let's go on to...
No, it's deserved. It's deserved for sure.
Let's go on to an album that people were very anticipated about this year. Life is Beautiful by 2 Chainz, Larry June, and The Alchemist. It was such an interesting collaboration, right? Because you get 2 Chainz, who's mostly known for like this high velocity Atlanta trap music, and then you get Larry June, who's more known for like this smooth West Coast sound with more of a monotone flow. And it's like, where's like the Uncle Al production gonna fit in between both of those? And I think for the most part, they accomplished a pretty sick track list. It's not an album I'm revisiting all that much for 2025, but nonetheless, this is still a really solid effort from everyone.
I think what's unfortunate is that like the album suffers the most when they go out of what's expected out of them, right? Like taking a song like Generation, which goes out of that jazzy formula, terrible verse from 2 Chainz, lazy flow, boring hook, Larry June doing some weird auto crooning, and then same thing with Jean Prouvé, where you have weak singing from Larry. There are quite a few duds on here that I feel like lower my score. This is a good album at best. I feel like for an album that was so short and concise at 11 songs, they should have been able to cut out all the fat.
Were you going a good or a great rating on this?
Oh, good all day, bro.
I think good is a fair rating. I have the same thing here. I wanted to give it a good rating.
Yeah, shout out to Alchemist, though. He was the bright spot of the album for me. Like,
he
really,
genuinely was.
The angelic vocal flips, the orchestral strings, the slow-moving beats, the flute melody on Life is Beautiful, bro. Incredible.
Yes, sir. Let's go on to an iconic mixtape series from Westside Gunn. This is going to be 12, also known as Hitler Wears Hermes 12. This released back in the month of February. And you and I did a live album reaction with the Patreon community to this. And
I don't know. I don't think we did.
we did. Yeah, we did it.
We did?
Yeah, we did this. Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We did it because...
I remember listening to this first listen at home or something. Maybe it was your first listen. But
no,
I
we did
feel
it
like,
together in February, for sure.
Because we did all of the Heels Have Eyes streams. I don't know if maybe that's what you're thinking of. Anyways.
Yeah, there's so many
All
mixtapes
that
that
to
released
say.
from his catalog. Regardless,
Anyways.
though, I like this project. I love Stove God Cooks on the first run over here.
He's on 5 songs out of 10 here, bro.
But, bro, the Boswell feature, the Adam Page feature, and the Virt feature is gross, bro.
No, it's 055, bro. His hunger on 055, he put his entire soul into those verses.
That kind of feels like a solo song for Stove God Cooks to a certain extent, too.
SD Knack also did his thing on all 4 features. Like, obviously, I mean, we're used to having a more diverse pool of artists on a Westside Gunn album, but these guys really held it up and didn't really make us miss too many people. And listen, I'm going to say this about the album. It feels like Westside Gunn's been putting out the same album for the last 10 years, if we're being real. But he chefed up another solid album, bro. You're getting the cartoonish gangster rap that you love from him, the vintage boom bap beats, the whiny raps that he's known for.
Yeah, and then when it's time to get a Stove God Cooks in the kitchen, for example, like a 005, like you had just said, he gives runtime to his feature artists, right, to do their thing.
He's a guy that you want to stay in the lane that he excels at. That's what it is with Westside Gunn.
Of course, because you kind of like always want that sound in maybe a slightly different format for the new year. Because you could go back to the other like installments of this series, and you're gonna find other Stove God Cooks collaborations. You're gonna find other songs that maybe feel similar to like a lot of the records off of here. But then again, like you have a new, fresh batch of songs, bro, with slightly different verses, slightly different production choices, and it's like, okay, how far can we really push this? Good rating, though.
Some of my favorite bars: just took my twins to Disney on the way in, sold a brick outside of Epcot. Another one: you ain't ever parallel parked a Bugatti. And my favorite one: wrist so heavy I can't wave no more. I had it as a great album, to be honest with you. I love the coke bars. I love the effort behind each vocal performance.
No weak tracks.
Only a couple of weak songs.
Like what would you say is weak over here?
Maybe Gumbo Yeah
with Brother Tom Sos.
Yeah, that's like maybe one of the skips.
I'm not a big fan of the Brother Tom Sos features on this. Actually, even on Health Science.
True.
But regardless, I gave it a good rating. I think
we can go good. Good is fair. That's
good
fine.
is fair with this.
All right, next up from the private collection of Saba and No ID. I mean, listen, you're getting Saba, who's one of Chicago's best lyricists. You're getting No ID, who's one of hip hop's finest producers ever. So there wasn't really ever a doubt that this wasn't going to be a strong album.
No. There was
Their
no
chemistry is fantastic, and I feel like the perfect way to describe this album is balance, bro. Like looking at the types of records that you have, the R&B leaning joints like Crash, and then the anthemic rap songs like West Side Bound Part 4. You have also the slow tempo but fast tempo productions from No ID. Saba's singing on this, but he's also rapping on this. You have songs that feel like freestyles like Acts 1.5, but then conceptual records like How to Impress God. Again, speaking about balance, live instruments, but also sample-based beats. Like, they mastered balance on this album.
Actually, fun fact, do you know that No ID cooked up over like 100+ beats for this project?
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy too. You're getting wonderful writing on songs like, for example, Big Picture. And if you're a fan of like Saba's introspective writing, which I think is in most of his projects, the new mixtape he just released is not as prominent on the writing front. I feel like this is a much better album, but that wasn't the case with this newest EP that he released. You're going to find him kind of tackling these beautiful topics of like reinvention, right? And like just family trauma, all these things that we love Saba for. So to have that plus the No ID production within this and all the great features and vocalists you have throughout this track list, top 10 album of the year lock, bro. No
amazing.
Way. It's an amazing album for sure.
Next up, On My Way to Rexdale by Nav. Nav. Our Canadian brother just hasn't learned from his previous mistakes. It was crazy to hear him sing alongside a choir for the intro, bro. I'm like, damn, this shit has me in tears.
But you know what? Like, how much more do you want him to do? Like,
listen,
it's his sound.
Nav. It's Nav. He's not
his sound.
Listen, it's Nav. He's not gonna reinvent the condom. Like, you know what you go to for Nav music. You know you're gonna get your auto-croon melodies. You're gonna get your moody trap beats. Like, it's kind of a given at this point. It's just the fact that usually he can rely on his features as a crutch. He couldn't do that here because they were so limited, and even the ones that he had, like a Cardi, for example, they didn't perform.
Yeah, but this has been a thing since like Bad Habits, for example, where you get these super bloated track lists, and it just feels like a cheap imitation of what he was doing back in 2016. And his vocals don't sound great on this album. It sounds like he just kind of put it out to keep his streams up and to continue like kind of catching in on the Spotify checks. I gave this a bad rating, bro.
This is a bad album. One of his worst, not only quality-wise, but also numbers-wise. I feel like people are kind of moving on. It's sad to say.
We will not forget you, Nabraj.
We will never forget you, bro. We do miss those infectious melodies and flows from 2017. We do.
Next up, More Chaos by Ken Carson. I did a TikTok piece recently saying I don't know how people enjoy these albums, and this is one of the albums I spoke about. This was going to be sort of a move on from A Great Chaos, which kind of propelled Ken Carson's career into a whole different sort of like atmosphere, bro. Like, this guy is in a completely different place in his career because of that album. And it was like, okay, how are we going to follow it up in 2025? Let's take all the B-sides, bro. Let's add some more distortion and clipping, and let's get it out there. You know, you don't have a Jennifer's Body off of this, bro. You don't have any of those.
Fighting My Demons.
Yeah, you don't have any of those off of this
I saw
track
a
list.
lot of people trying to make the claim that this was better than Playboi Carti's music, and I'm just like, no shot, bro. I mean, this is one of those albums where, like, I know this phrase is overused, and I don't like using it, but it applies here. When every song sounds like the next song that follows it, bro, there's a fucking problem. There's only so many fucking beats that I could take with the abrasive drums and synths just all clunking together.
And even at that, like, there was like no growth in like the vocal performances or even the mic presence. It's the same type of shit that you got off of
the
A Great
only
Chaos,
bright spots
just
were
mixed poorly.
Only bright spots were songs like Trap Jump, where it's like you're getting that 2010s Lex Luger style production wise, where it's like, okay, like
That's
this
fire.
is different.
That's fire.
Yeah.
That's one song out of an entire fucking track list.
It's a bad
I was
album.
between bad and mid.
No, this is bad. He went 4 for 22 for me, bro.
All right, let's go on to Glockavelli by Key Glock. Speaking about a trap album that sounds a lot more interesting, this is one of them. Key Glock always comes through and delivers these high voltage trap albums, bro, that also has iconic samples within it.
So many, bro.
There's so many within it. What's your favorite one, actually?
Favorite one, I think it's probably, he uses the same sample that 3-6 used on Stay Fly, which is that old Willie Hutch sample.
Yes, crazy.
I fucking love that.
That's on Blue Devil.
That's on Blue Devil. Even the Didn't You Know Erykah Badu sample on Badu. I feel like that wasn't an easy feat to make that song because J. Cole already flipped it so well for Too Deep for the intro.
And it's also kind of like more of a somber sample, right? So to get the trap drums in back of it and to see him attack those pockets,
it's kind of risky, yeah.
It is a risky play, but he pushed himself with this album. I'm between good or great with this.
I think it's a great trap album, bro, just because of how refreshing it is. Like, seeing an artist sonically pull from blues and R&B and old soul and, you know, mesh that in with that Memphis trap sound and have such energetic performances from top to bottom. Incredible stuff. I'm going to go great, yeah? You want to go great?
Yeah, let's go on to Gollywog by Billy Woods. Honestly, dude, the more that I listen to this album, the more I'm impressed with it, bro. This is one of the craziest rap albums I've heard all fucking year. There's a crazy concept tied into this. You're getting crazy records like Black Christmas on here. If you guys want to go dive deep into the concept of that record, go ahead and do so. But you're getting like these super horrorcore beats from Uncle Al and other wonderful producers throughout this track list. And it's just one of the most creative soundscapes I've heard all year, bro. It genuinely is. And the storytelling is top tier throughout this. Why wouldn't this album make someone's top 10, bro?
I mean, I could see it making top 10. I could see it even being top 15. It's not a lock for my top 10. It might crack in. I don't know, but I do love the horror themes. It would have been cool for him to drop it in October. But yeah, it's just, again, the creative approaches to certain records, bro. Like, he's just one of the masters of the English language. And what he did on Jump Scare, a song like Misery, where he's rapping about having this love affair with a vampire and how, like, she's biting. Anyways, point being, very creative shit from Billy Woods.
And of course, like,
very well produced.
And a lot of social commentary as well, right?
Oh,
him talking about how capitalism is the ultimate beast and how people kind of have to, like, conform to capitalism and like stand behind it because they're scared of the monster, so they're gonna join the side regardless if they like it or not. And then the production and the soundscape is honestly what really wins me over here, bro, because you're getting these noisy saxes throughout the track list. You're getting these modem screeches, bro, that kind of create like this sort of like horrorcore sound that is not prominent on any other track list from like, not like, I don't think Billy Woods is like an underground rapper anymore because he does have a super cult fan base.
Yeah.
But it's one of the most interesting rap albums from the States at
It
least
is
for
and
this year.
I don't think it's as playable as like a Maps was for me, let's say back in 2023.
No, but it was
it's
different
not
because
meant to be that. Like
Kenny Siegel delivered a different type of soundscape for it. It was a lot more bright. It was a different approach with the track list. The theme for this album was really like horrorcore.
Of course, and I just like that he brought in a lot of taboo topics and like approached it with uncomfortable, intense instrumentals. Like there was no like, oh, I'm gonna try to like, you know, baby feed this to you. No, it's like, this is the product, this is the raw product, and you're gonna take it how it is.
I will say this, bro. This is on the same level as Ethiops for me, bro, and it has a similar type of approach with it.
I don't know about the same level of Ethiops, but you want to go amazing here?
I'm gonna go with amazing.
Let's go with amazing for Gollywog. Sure. Next up, Lotus by Little Simz. We didn't see eye to eye on this album. I still stand on the ground that I stood on before. Out of 13 songs, there's really only 2 that I dislike. I think she dropped one of the best albums of the year yet again. And the album is just super reflective. And obviously it's based on the fallout between her and her collaborator Inflo and how he owed her money, etc. Yada, yada, yada. I just feel like for her to lose her main fucking producer and collaborator and put out an album that sounds this good shortly after, it's fucking impressive, bro.
It doesn't sound as good, though, as the Inflo production, and that's just because Inflo produced them. I will say that. I feel like it's maybe a step down.
No, Miles James killed it. He killed it. It's not Inflo level. I agree with you.
It's not Inflo level, no. But it was a really good produced album. I was a bit harsh on this album when I first listened to it because I did the revisits now, end of the year list, had some tracks that stuck in rotation, and I do like the writing on this album, bro. Like, that does not fall short. And
bro,
you're
the 4-track run, only 3-piece and hollow.
Yes.
Classic Little Simz.
Yes, absolutely. And I will say this. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 songs over the 2 that you mentioned that I'm not as big of a fan of. And maybe I'll end up speaking about it more in the year content, so I want to reserve that conversation for other episodes. Nonetheless, though, I was between a great or an amazing rating.
Let's do amazing then. If you're in between, I have it as amazing.
Lotus
gets it. All right, next up, God Does Like Ugly by Jid. Put a bullet in Bob the fucking Builder. So many highlight moments, bro. Like, I've never heard Jid sound so aggressive on Community, for example, where you had some of the best features of the year from Clipse. I will say this about the album, though, and let me know if you agree. I've never had a Jid album fall out of my rotation so quickly before.
I agree with you.
And it's weird. I mean, I've been rocking with Jid since 2017. We rated this really highly in our review. Just maybe isn't the most accessible, and maybe it's like that clunk of songs in the middle where like he kind of steers off topic.
A song that I feel like was designed to get a lot of replay value out of the community, like a Skate, for example.
I like Skate.
It
grew on me. Do you fuck with it?
I'm not a big fan of Skate. Just not my type of sound. I don't enjoy it all that much. But when it comes to songs like On McAfee, for example, or VCRs, Find Me There.
Beautiful.
Find Me There. Those are all-time songs, I think, for his catalog. So I feel like it is kind of up to the standard, but I don't have this album in front of the Never Story. I don't have it in front of DiCaprio 2, and I definitely don't have it in front of the Forever Story. Nonetheless, though, I still stay with my amazing rating.
Yeah, I still stick by it. I mean, not as focused of a concept album as the Forever Story. And I will say this, it didn't feel like a step forward for Jid in his career. Like, at a time where it maybe was needed, it almost felt like a step. It didn't feel like a step backwards or forward.
It was a lateral move.
Yeah, that's it. It further cemented him being one of the best active rappers in the game, and it was a cool batch of songs. But yeah, amazing, amazing, I would say.
Is it making your top 10? Is it a lock, bro?
It's not a lock. It's not.
That's very interesting.
Is it a lock for you?
I can't speak. If I speak, I'm in big trouble.
Next up, Massa by YoungBoy, a 30-song YB album, the length of a fucking feature film. That is crazy work from YB, bro, and you need serious patience to finish this album.
Were you surprised, though? Are you surprised that it's like 30 minutes feature film type of thing?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed because I had to listen to it, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
But even throughout that listenership, because I had to go through the album as well, right, just for this episode too, and when it first came out, I kind of spun a couple of songs. To the YB fans out there, what are you guys getting out of this album that you didn't already get out of a fucking Colors or a Sincerely Kentrell, bro? Or I don't know where you guys are finding the entertainment. Is it like maybe a Westside Gunn situation for us where, hey, just new pack of songs, take them. They're going to sound like my other fucking albums, but I know you guys are going to eat it up. Take them.
it's just like there's only so much I could handle of NBA YoungBoy screaming shit at me, bro. And like these lazy, repetitive ass hooks where there's one song, I think it's called Sex and Violence, where he literally just screams, sex and violence, sex and violence. I'm like, okay, what does this even mean, bro? Like, you can't make this shit up. It's one ridiculous thing after another with this album, bro. From the electric guitar solo of the American National Anthem to YB rapping shit like whatever Trump doing, bitch, it's good for unity. Mid Cardi feature, awfully mixed trap beats that are constantly overproduced, bro. Bad singing on songs like I'm Ready, messy flows. This is hip hop slop, bro. Like, this is a sloppy album. That's the best way that I could say it. It's unhinged. It's unfucking edited. It's unlistenable.
It's like the hot dogs that they have in the spinners at 7-Eleven, bro. You know, maybe you'll get one day, but you know you shouldn't be eating it. You know you should not be touching those hot dogs at 7-Eleven when they've been sitting out for fucking 15 hours. You know you shouldn't be doing it.
Nasty, bro.
You know you shouldn't be doing it. You know you shouldn't go for the cheese whiz on the side too, because it's been sitting there for like 5 days.
No, that is like the only scenario is like, bro, like, you fucking escaped a kidnapping and like you haven't eaten in 2 days.
And it's gonna
slap. 7-Eleven is the only thing there.
And you're gonna enjoy it.
And you have to do it.
And you're gonna enjoy it. But then after that, you won't enjoy it when you've had a decent meal after, maybe at your mom's crib. No, it's a bad album, bro.
This is a bad album. Let's get 17-year-old YB back. I liked that YB. Next up, a futuristic summer by Metro Boomin. Cool to see him make regional music again and not really like be, I would say, someone that feels like he needs to please the mainstream. Like, it was cool to see him do his own thing here.
Regional sound.
It's something that's going to connect with people that in Atlanta fucked with that futuristic swag sound. And I fucked with some of it when I was a kid, but to get a full album of it and to get a lot of the same performances stylistically, a lot of the same elements production-wise, it gets old quick, bro.
Yeah, you think that's the problem with this? I mean, back in the review, just going back to this track list, I'm pulling it up now. I gave it a good rating because I feel like he did replicate that swag Atlanta bound sound like really well, and it's someone that obviously grew up listening to that sound, collaborated with a lot of different artists from that era, getting songs like They Want to Have Fun, or for example, something like I Go, Make It Make Sense. I like a lot of these songs, and I'm still revisiting this album, actually. I still go back, and I do enjoy it just as much.
Don't.
I do.
You re-listen to this album.
I do.
That's
I go
crazy.
back to it. I'm not going to say it's super heavy in rotation, but I do enjoy songs, bro, for sure.
Cool returns from Waka Flocka and Young Dro. I think they had the best standout
It's
moments.
a Party is sick, too. Slide is awesome with Roscoe Dash.
This is an album that won't convert anyone. If you fucked with this sound heavily back in the day, then you're probably going to fuck with this. You'll have fun with it. I didn't. This is a mid-album for me.
I gave it a good rating. Just bump it up for me.
All right, sure.
Bump it up for me.
Good for Futuristic Summer. Next up, last one by Gunna. I don't think Gunna making a 25-song album is ever a good idea. And it wasn't here.
And especially after two other album releases in 2024, 2023, and actually in 2022. It's like you... What do you want to do with Gunna? Yeah, you want him to make you like, he's not going to make classical music. He's not going to start going into like alternative rock.
But that's what it is. Like, when you know your range is limited as an artist, like, bro, just give me a 13-song album that have 2-minute tracks, because your best trait as an artist is being able to find pockets and ride out these beats. But at a certain point, bro, by track 19, there's only so many different pockets and flows that you could attempt before I feel like I've heard it all, bro. It's a handful of topics, all fucking being repeated. It's the same guitar strings. It's the same turbo, fast-tempo trap production and auto-crooning performances. Like, this is Groundhog Day, the album.
Yes,
I said that for more chaos. It's the same thing here. Only songs I fuck with are Just Say That, Him All Along, and a few others, bro, where he's just playing it safe. I feel like he needs to expand the palette production-wise. Like, that's one thing that he could do as an artist.
Especially if you're releasing albums and track lists every other year, right? That's the problem here. And I think that for the first time in Gunna's career, this is an album that didn't last with people. Mm-hmm. If you go back to last year, for example, like with One of One, even if you want to go back to the previous year of 2023, 2022, the albums that he released...
It's always hits.
It's always hits. Are people getting exhausted a bit? I think so. I gave this a mid rating.
This is a mid-album.
Yes, it is.
The whole album blends together.
All right, next up, Starline by Chance the Rapper, released back in August. What a nice surprise, bro. What a nice album.
Absolutely, man.
I really enjoyed this. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not making my top 10 list.
Yeah, it's not there.
But it's in consideration as an honorable mention. It's going to be an honorable mention for me.
It's an honorable mention, yeah. I love seeing Chance make a nice return, coming back with the sharpest pen he's ever had, making some of the most profound records, beautiful records, stuff like The Highs and the Lows, songs like The Letters, The Problem, No More Old Men. Just cool to see him evolve to a point of being comfortable in himself and his message. And there are a couple of songs where, you know, he tries to bring back the old Chance and give you like this very like silly, playful type of record, and it doesn't always pan out.
It doesn't pan
songs
out.
like A Tree, songs
Tree
like
was a really weak single for
like
this
a Burn
album.
Ya Block, I feel like was a bit forced, kind of chasing.
There's a bit of like
hit.
a middle run within this album
Yeah.
that kind of weighs it down from being maybe an amazing album. I have it at a great rating.
It's
though.
a great album, successful comeback. Shout out to Chance. Next up, Live, Laugh, Love by Earl Sweatshirt.
This is an album I want to have a conversation with you about. I have been junking this album, Lou.
So I feel
have
like
been
people are
fucking
split on
junking
this.
this
I see
album,
some
bro.
people saying, hey, this is album of the year. I see other people saying that his performances are too monotone. I think that's really like the main weakness is that.
But yeah,
Yes,
Earl
he's
Sweatshirt and
monotone,
Monotone
but-
go in the same conversation.
For sure.
Like that's
but
his whole
That
point.
being said, I don't like shit. I don't go outside. Was different in terms of like having different types of radiant performances. But even here, like looking at something like a Tourmaline, which is, in my opinion, one of Earl's best ever songs, you're not getting a monotone Earl. You're getting him actually, you know, in this melodic, romantic bag. And that ended up being a nice breath of fresh air.
Example, a monotone performance for me that was actually one of the best off of the album was his verse off of Infatuation. I love that song. It's one of the strongest records off of this album.
Or even
like,
something like Static, where he
Yeah.
sounds more animated and he's rapping over a more anthemic type beat. Like he gives you, like he drifts off from that classic signature delivery and cadence. But yeah, I love this album, bro.
I do as
it's
well.
his brightest, it's his warmest, his most uplifting. It feels like he's closing a chapter
to open
and
up
starting
a new one. Exactly.
That's what it feels like.
And the end song, Exhaust, off of this album.
the last 3-song run,
Yeah, Tourmaline, Heavy Metal, aka Ejecto, Cedo, and then Exhaust.
one of the best 3-track
And
runs
this
of
is
the
an
year.
album that you could just fucking rinse, bro.
24 minutes.
Oh my god. I'm serious. This is an album that
Phenomenal
especially now when it starts getting cold outside. Like I know it's a brighter album, but I like Earl in the winter. Like I like listening to a lot more hip hop in the winter, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of vibe out, put it in the whip. I'm at the office. I'll be listening to new albums. This one for me is a special one, bro. This is amazing.
Amazing for Earl
Yes, sir.
Sweatshirt. Bang. Next up, Lonely at the Top by Joey Badass. I really feel like Joey fumbled with this album after being in MVP conversations for what he did back in May, going at the entire West Coast and holding his own in those battles that he had. It was looking like an incredible year, and after 2000, which a lot of people loved, people felt like it was time for a new chapter, for him to put out another album that would have stacked up with the Before the Cash and the All American Badasses. And he ends up,
even 2000 though was received super well,
It
and you had
was.
big songs off of that album.
yeah.
I think he made the mistake when he tweeted before the album came out that this is a bit more of a mixtape. I think at that point fans knew
You know what I think happened? I think that he got so much momentum coming after all these diss tracks. He probably didn't have the album ready, bro, and he's like, I got to give them something. I have to cash in on something. The fans are hungry, and he probably put this together quickly. That's what it sounded like.
But it's kind
sounded
of
like
weird
he
though
put it
because
together
he hadn't
fast.
done a month and a half before the album actually released, or should I say the mixtape, according to Joey. And apparently it was the label problems that kind of stalled everything. Remember when he came out on his IG and said
Well,
that?
it doesn't mean that he didn't make it this year.
No,
though.
I get it. And it just didn't feel like Joey was pushing himself as a rapper like he did on his previous albums, right? He took time with his previous albums to release them and always handled it with extreme intention and care. This one didn't feel like that. And it's the first time in Joey's career where I feel like that happened. I'm going to give it a good rating.
I have it a very light good rating. I think that its biggest problem was that it was missing the bite that a lot of those diss tracks had that he dropped earlier in the year. And the bars, bro. Like, this is Joey Badass. We shouldn't be lacking on bars. We needed the finals energy, bro. Like, victory music is what we would have needed for this. And instead, we got a lot of, same old boom bap.
It felt passive.
vintage.
It felt like a passive attempt from Joey with this one.
But all right, next up, Am I the Drama by Cardi B.
I will say this. it's not as bad of an album as people make it seem out to be.
Fine, but this took 7 years to make.
No, obviously, but
7?
Regardless, if you took 25 years to make, like, you know that this is gonna come out a certain way, and they honestly they wanted to capitalize on the fact that she hadn't dropped since Invasion of Privacy, and that, you know, obviously there was maybe anticipation from the hip hop fans. I feel like more from her own community and fan base, but you know what? Verses on Hello are pretty fire. Going on to Magnet,
she did get good on Hello,
you
for
know,
sure.
That was good.
The Be a Diss song, Pretty and Petty, was hard. Name 5 Be a songs, Gun to Your Head was funny. Like, there's some decent rap performances where she sounds fired up, where she's solo. I think it's when you get into songs with like Selena Gomez, where you're getting like xylophone daycare type production with just bubblegum pop vibes, where things fall flat. And you know, if The Big Day was a marriage album, this is a divorce album. A lot of subject matter about her divorce with Offset and that relationship. And
I didn't like how she attacked like that whole Cash Cobain sound as well on Better Than You. That was a song that felt repetitive, and it kind of felt like an Ice Spice bite to a certain extent. So there's some unoriginal tracks on here.
A lot of radio bait.
I'm not going bad with this one. I give it a mid rating.
Mid rating, and lyrics that are also cheesy, like, might let him dunk this pussy like he dunked the ball.
Nice.
Cardi B, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, next up, Infinite by Mobb Deep. What a special album that came out this year. One of my favorite live album reactions from the catalog that we released in 2025 going into this album. We had conversations where it's like, okay, like, are we going to be getting like bottom of the barrel, like let's say, you know, Prodigy verses? Because that's always a concern with posthumous albums. We saw it with other legends, and that happened, and you're kind of like left wondering, why did they even release this? This needed to be released, though.
Special.
This was an album that needed to be released.
Yeah, beautiful way to celebrate the legacy of Mobb Deep, with this being probably their final album from what I understand. And I think what's special here is that this was limited to 2 producers, bro. You had Havoc and The Alchemist, and they brought back that grimy New York sound that you want to hear when you listen to any Mobb Deep project. And what impressed me, too, is that I was worried seeing, like, Georgia Smith and her on the track list. I'm like, the Young's doing, like, the romantic, like, love songs.
Bro.
They came out amazing. Those tracks are some
Top
of the best
tier
on the album. And you know what? The biggest thing, it felt like Prodigy was still with us listening to this, bro. The verses were well mixed and mastered.
Like on Pour the Henny, like that verse.
His lyrics are still so relevant to today's, you know, modern climate. Like, you couldn't get much better than this, bro, when it comes to a posthumous album.
And people speak about Uncle Al's production on Alfredo 2 a lot, but looking at his beats on Gunfire and even Taj Mahal, for example, they're grimy, they're tense, bro. They're dripped in like that old Mobb Deep sound, and obviously there was going to be no one else to produce this with Havoc.
Absolutely.
It had to be Uncle Al and
I'm
Havoc.
kind of between great and amazing on this. I think there are a couple of lows, like the hook on the M to the O to the BB, or production on Taj Mahal isn't my favorite. So a couple of...
You didn't like the Taj Mahal beat?
The beat, no, I like the performances, but production-wise, I didn't love it.
I had it as great.
Yeah, great is fair.
All right, let's go on to an album that has caused so much conversation. It feels like we might have someone on the rise here, Lou.
It does.
It feels like
it's a lot of hype. It's a lot of buzz. The numbers are there. And what's interesting is that it feels like the promotion and the marketing was very minimal for SD Kids.
And I love that.
Very minimal.
Just kind of like adopting this supervillain sort of role in hip-hop coming out of the UK. And it's like, I'm going to fucking dominate the American market with no promotion. You guys can't do fuck all about it. Right now, SD Kid is writing that whole mystique of like no one knows what his face looks like. There's the whole like Timothy Chalamet like sort of thing going on where people are like, oh well, he's jumping in and it's him behind the mask.
That's funny.
Obviously not. But speaking about Rebel, it's actually a concise track list, bro. It's not bloated for modern trap albums, which I really like. And especially now where a lot of rappers have to sort of conform to this rage sound, and you're seeing it a lot in the States. SD does have a bit of clipping in some certain portions of this album, but for the most part, bro, these beats are fucking nasty.
Yeah, it's like, I think the element of rage that he's taking the most is really just like the blown out bass and like some of the distorted drums that you'll hear. But really kind of sticking to this aggressive, fast-paced UK drill sound. My only issue, like, by the way, I like a lot of songs in here. I like Dirty, I like Mist. I like, obviously,
you said
Rottweiler.
You didn't like Mist when I showed you the first time.
Grew on me as I did a proper listen, multiple listens of the project. That being said, sometimes I feel like there's lacking clarity when it comes to his delivery. You can't really make out what he's saying. That's an issue for me. I wish that he would switch up his cadences and flows a little bit more, but there's potential here. I like the raw and dirty sounds. Like, he has a distinct sort of vibe to the music.
And his producer, Rafe9, bro, is one of the most interesting producers coming out right now. We had this conversation with one of our friends where it's like, who's going to be like that next Metro Boomin? I'm not saying Rafe9's going to be that. Obviously,
slow it down, buddy.
No. Hey, I didn't say that. That's exactly why I'm saying that. He's not going to be the next Metro Boomin. Like, he's going to be the next Rafe9. Like, this is a sound I feel like a lot of rappers are going to look at and they're going to say, I might have to tap into this. That dark, grimy trap production. It's fucking back, bro. And you're listening to it, and I can actually hear the beats. I can hear the fucking beats, bro. It doesn't sound like a blender. I can hear them.
I go good. I think it's a passable project.
Good album.
I had it at the good potential. Rating. There's potential.
Honestly, I'm happy for him. I'm happy there's someone that's coming out and that's making fucking raw, aggressive hip-hop music.
For sure.
This is fire,
It's interesting. It's interesting to follow. The Cabin in the Sky by De La Soul, another posthumous tribute album from the Mass Appeal run, this time coming from a legendary Native Tongues group, De La Soul, who lost Dave, a.k.a. Trugoy the Dove, back in 2023. Rest in peace to him. A lot of creativity went into just, like, the packaging and, like, the presentation of this album in terms of having Giancarlo Esposito narrated, bro, and doing, like, calling out the absences within the intro and moments like Pause, for example, talking to Dave on his last verse, which was heart-wrenching. Love the DJ premiere appearances. I thought the production on the album was really solid, and to get such an uplifting and bright, positive album, even though they were dealing with, like, really the passing away of their friend in terms of subject matter, it was classic De La. I'm like, De La would want to make an album that balances tough subject matter with really bright soundscapes.
Yes, and also, like, dedicating the entire theme of the album to their lost friend, bro, like, really made this album feel more personal, especially for De La Soul fans, right? It feels like a whole tribute album. I have it between great or amazing. I'm not sure.
Me too. It was between the two of those, bro.
I didn't know where to gauge it, but I think it's on the same level as Infinite.
As Infinite.
So I'm going to give it a great rating.
Let's give it a great rating. It could go amazing, though. Gonna need more listens to really confirm it. Might make top 10. We'll see. Next up, Rest in Bass by Sheay. There is nothing appealing to me about Shay's vocals on this album, bro. He is whining.
You can't even hear them.
He is whining with auto-tune over these freaky beats, bro. Like, the first one sounds like he's bouncing on a trampoline, and that's a sound effect that I'm hearing. If you like absolute distortion, blown out bass, clipping 808s, repetitive flows, and nonsense lyrics, this might be the album for you.
Bad rating.
Bad rating. Sure. The rage formula is present for the whole album, bro. And you know what? I will give him credit. I like the last song, Bass. That song is hard, and it's because he samples Beach House's song Lemon Glow. That was fire. But overall, bro,
I'm just honestly, I'm not even the target demo. I don't even think you could call this hip-hop.
There's no potential. The grating vocals make him just sound like a 12-year-old kid, bro, who's using FL for the first time. You tell me you could listen to a song like On Fleek and enjoy it, please.
All right. Black British Music by Jim Legacy, one of the most interesting track lists out of the UK this year. You see Jim Legacy kind of balancing this act of rapping and also singing and harmonizing, and I think he does a great job throughout the entirety of the project. Honestly, from a new generation rapper, I think that this is an album that I actually really did enjoy listening to.
The UK is doing some shit this year, bro. They're really they're delivering, and one of the most refreshing hip-hop albums that I've heard all year. Shout out to Jim Legacy for also producing all of this and making an album that feels fun to listen to, has a lot of nice grooves, even though the main recurring theme is the loss of his sister who tragically passed away as a kid. This album keeps going higher and higher in my list for the end of the year. I have it as amazing. I have it as an amazing project.
I had it as a great, but I could go up to amazing with this.
You want to go amazing with this?
Yeah, we could go amazing with
All right.
Next up, Stardust by Danny Brown. 1999 caused a lot of controversy in our community.
Well, for us specifically, forget the community. We caused a lot of controversy.
Danny Brown did not take light to our reaction on this. Actually, unfollowed us on IG, but
Danny Brown unfollowed us. He kind of like sub-dissed us to calling us normies, whatever the case may be. That's okay, Danny Brown. We still fucking love you. You're a legend. But we don't fuck with that song though. And there's a lot of songs in this album that I don't fuck with, to be totally transparent. And I will say this: it was ballsy, bro. Danny Brown making a hyper pop album and pulling it off to some degree. I thought the execution on a number of songs was pretty decent, to be honest with you, bro. Even my favorite song is Lift You Up, bro, where you have these undeniable house grooves. To have Danny Brown pull that off
I was playing it with Fajah, actually, and he's like, this is actually fire. It could be played at a boiler room, and I agree. And I think that was kind of like the intent with this album was to kind of get a brighter soundscape, something that felt more energetic, and
but also very experimental. This is one of his most experimental
and apparently,
albums
like
yet.
he was just bumping a fuckload of Charlie XCX, and it kind of
100 Gex.
Sorry, 100 Gex. Excuse me, and it kind of prompted him to go into this lane with it. You could hear it.
A good album.
A good album at best.
Yeah, at best.
Everything is a Law by Wale. You said you've listened to this album recently. I did the spin. I think people are overrating this album, bro. I think it's getting overrated.
I think that it's a good album at best. I think that most records on here are slow-paced, romantic cuts. And Wale's always been good at being like that balancing act of rapper, singer. But he was missing like anthems and just songs that reminded us of his penmanship.
It was a bit vanilla as far as an album goes, bro. It was kind of a safe album for Wale. And it's just like, I feel like if you're a Wale fan and you don't like his romantic content, you're not going to like this album whatsoever. Like, it really leans into that side. And for me, while I do appreciate it, I think it's a good album. I think it could have been a lot more.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a good rating.
Great sample flips, though. Like Where to Start, which samples SWV. Also, Power and Problems was a special record. A lot of nice highlights, but he missed the mark on certain songs towards the latter end, in my opinion. But
all right, the last album that we're going to be speaking for.
One of our hottest takes of the year.
Yes, sir. The Boy Who Played the Harp by Dave, released in the third quarter or fourth quarter? What was this? October, excuse me. So fourth quarter of 2025. A lot of people are saying that this is one of the best albums of the year. I disagree. I think you could argue that it's one of the best written albums of 2025, but when it comes to a lot of different things with this album, example, the hooks, bro, that you felt like you kind of got on, like We're All Alone in This Together, or even something like Psychodrama, it's missing that musical factor to it, bro. Like, the production is not all that interesting. I don't like his vocal inflections on a lot of different songs on this.
Also, the features outshine him on every single song, bro. Looking at James Blake's heavenly vocals on History and Selfish, which steal the show, or Jim Legacy's hook on No Weapons, where he saves that song. Thames, who sounds phenomenal on Rain Dance. Features really outperformed him, and I also feel like the production didn't really... Well, first of all, the production was very invisible, bro. It felt too minimalistic, and then it also didn't match his types of performances. Looking at 175 months, why am I getting glitchy Chipmunk Soul as a backing for that song? Where he's having a conversation with God. Like, it was a mismatch of production and performance. And I just wish that they focused more on like the musical components rather than just the pen to paper aspect.
I completely agree.
Good album. I think that it could have been better, bro, because there's so many meaningful songs. Songs like My 27th Birthday, incredible stuff, but it's like we don't want to do the spoken word poetry thing for an entire album, Dave. You know what I mean? And that's what it ended up feeling like.
And some of these verses felt a bit long. Even if I was reading along with Genius, like, I do like Dave's accessibility in his music and the way that he balances his lyrics, also with his production and the way that he's able to harmonize and deliver hooks. I just don't feel like that was on display for this album. But guys, let us know, where did we get it right? Where did we get it wrong? And we listen to all of these albums on our Patreon plan. So if you guys want to subscribe to the Patreon, a lot of like live album reactions coming for 2026. Hit the link in the description. The Patreon's going to be there for you guys. We appreciate you, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.